Welcome to all of you for another session of the future of telcos. So within ETIS, we have a series of webinars related to the possible future of the telecom industry. And we're very happy to have today the vision of LMT. LMT is the main mobile operator in Latvia. And their presentation is called From Phones to Drones. So very exciting title. And they will discuss how the 5G potential can be unleashed, what their vision is. So before giving the floor to Egars and his team, let's look at the agenda. I will give a small introduction for the people not knowing ETIS, and then we will focus immediately on the presentation of Egars and his team. We will also have a Q&A at the end, but feel free to post your questions during the presentation in the chat. So you have the chat button on your screen. So if you open it, you see all the incoming information and you can post your questions while the presentation is being given. So if you have questions for clarification, just drop the question immediately and we will ask them to the presenters. And we will also have some time at the end for more generic questions you may have for the speakers. You will also get a copy of the slides, and we're also recording the webinar, so you have the link sent over today later on this afternoon. So what is ETIS? We're a platform in the European telecom industry, and our main purpose is to share information. We really know that the telco sector has a lot of objectives, a lot of difficult choices to make. Perhaps if you can put yourself on mute, that would be helpful. So the telecom industry has a lot of strategic objectives. They need to decide on investing in 5G, in fiber to the home, in going virtual with their networks and their IT infrastructure, meaning that they have huge investments to be made. So it's really important to make the right choices. And at the same time, they have to increase the business or to improve the business performance and the customer experience. This means that it can be very important to share knowledge in the industry, to make sure that you make the right choices, that you learn from one another, that you discuss the things which work, which do not work, and that you also, where possible, collaborate. And so within ETIS, we want to offer you that platform that is really, I would say, our bread and butter, our reason of existence. We do that in 18 working groups, and you can have a description of all the working groups on our website, etis.org. So if you do not know us or you want to get more information, feel free to go to the website. So this brings me back to the topic of today, from phones to drones. So 5G, as I've mentioned, is very high on everybody's agenda, with, I would say, a very different situation within Europe. And so we're very happy that we will have the view of LMT, because as you will see in the presentation, in Latvia, they are very ahead of some of the other European operators, and they have a lot of products and services in their pipeline. And we're very happy that they're willing to share their strategy with you and with ETIS. So without further ado, I want to give the floor to Egars and his team, who are in LMT Ventures, and Egars Runsis is Department Director with LMT Ventures. So Egars, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Wim. So I share my presentation. I hope it's on your screens right now.
Yes, it is. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Great. Give me just a second. Okay. Yeah, so hi there. Thanks for your time and thanks for joining this webinar. I want to thank Wim and his team for inviting us to present ourselves here. And it is our pleasure to be part of ETIS and meet you here. And I hope we'll have an exciting hour sharing our experience and perspective on unleashing 5G potential. Slides presented today, as Wim mentioned, will be available after this webinar, and Wim's team will share them with you. And if you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to ask them in chat or Q&A section. I and my colleagues will monitor them from time to time and address them after a particular section will be closed. Yeah. So my name is Aigars Runčis. I'm LMT's Ventures Department Director, and I will start our presentation, during which I will also give a floor to my colleagues to tell more about some of our projects and solutions. But yeah, first things first, let me introduce you to LMT. I see a few other partners from Latvia also has joined us, so you already know. But for others, we are a leading telco operator in Latvia with more than 30 years of experience. We are proud to find ourselves among the most efficient Nokia mobile data network in the world. And years ago, we started to do IT development and integration. First for our own needs, then started offering services to customers. And now we count more than 60 developers in-house for our customers' needs. So we find this number quite huge. A significant boost for developing our IT competencies was 5G. How we laugh with each other, we have launched 5G at least 2 or even 3 times in Latvia, and the challenge we found here is to be able to deliver added value with 5G. So it was, and actually still is, easy to share exciting stories about 5G in, I don't know, 5 or 7 years perspective, but it is hard to find proof for 5G now or within next year. That's why we took at least part of control into our own hands, and we are proud members of various associations, which helps us to be closer to discussions and be agile in implementing hot topics. But paying a tribute to our core business, Latvia is a perfect place where to use mobile data, and the latest OECD chart backs that up. So just Finns are ahead in mobile data consumption. This is more technical information, but we do have a variety of frequencies available, which allows us to provide excellent network services level entering 5G era. And this year we celebrate 10 years anniversary since we have decided to stop selling and counting minutes and megabytes by establishing flat services. From a market saturation perspective, we started to work hard on innovations and future new revenue streams, looking for success in different areas. And I'm sure many of you know how hard it is, right? We have developed projects and use cases in several, as we call them, verticals. And here they are. Not all, but our major points of interests are about IoT and smart city, because it's quite close to our core, right? After being kind to National Guards, they have asked, when they asked for some used tablets, we got to know their challenges deeper and found this area of public safety very exciting. And my colleagues Kaspars will elaborate more on that. We believe in near future mobile networks will play important role in drones flight management. That's why we are in drone business or vertical. And last but not least, vertical mobility by using our competencies in edge computing and computer vision brought us with some projects in this area as well. We are active participants in various EU R&D projects. At this moment, we are participants in a dozen of them, involving almost all EU countries and counting more than 250 participants all across Europe. If you ask me more specifically about those projects where we are in, Here you can find a list of some particular projects and their topics, such as Comfort Drones for drone technology, or IMAX for unmanned platforms, or 5G routes for 5G large-scale trials, and so on. It is a great chance and opportunity to partner with globally well-known and innovative companies, and it raises our level of competence in 5G. It also helps us to spot partners for some further developments. And one of our latest pride is the CEF project, or Counting Euro Facility project, for 5G coverage along transport corridors. In this project, we are making a 5G rollout next to the Trans-European Transport Network connecting Helsinki with Warsaw. From our side, it will be more than 100 5G base stations providing seamless connectivity. To test 5G possibilities, we have installed several test beds for different use cases, so our partners can come to Riga and test their latest developments in real 5G networks without any risks or consequences. For example, one of our test beds is in racetrack Biķernīki to test seamless connectivity switching from one country's operator to another operator, which is crucial for mobility, or in specially established test bed nearby our headquarters. We do test and pilot various gadgets and solutions for smart city. Just 15 minutes from Riga center, you will find a 5G test polygon for defense purposes, and my colleagues will elaborate on that in a few minutes. So that was, let's say, an introduction part about LMT, but now let's take a closer look at some projects from verticals I introduced a few slides ago, and the options for how we find it possible to introduce new revenue streams for us. Looking for new business models, we found the brilliance of networking, and we realized that by closely collaborating with our ecosystem here in Latvia, we can find many powerful resources and partners. And one of our partners who has done a lot in R&D of new projects and solutions is Microtik. And before I pass a mic to my colleague Artūrs Lalovs, who is responsible for sales in our sensor business, let me briefly introduce you to Microtik. So Microtik is the largest manufacturer in Latvia. They are globally known for traffic routing and network management solutions. Their customers speak for themselves, and we have the pleasure and opportunity to work closely with them in developing 5G router, mobile base station for defense projects, and IoT sensors. And more in details will share my colleague, Mr. Artūrs Lalovs. Artur, please.
Yeah, thank you, Aigars, for the introduction. So as you already mentioned, together with Microtik, we have close collaboration for many years in different segments. However, the focus is to develop new solutions that help us to provide high-end services for our customers. And for this purpose, we created 5G laboratory where all the magic happens, and different 5G use cases applications are tested. And as one of our cooperation outcomes, I would like to highlight 4G and 5G router. So the next slide, Aigars. Yeah, thank you. That's fully designed, assembled in Latvia. So this is already achievement, I think. And right now, almost 40% of LMT customers use Microtik routers, and this router is also distributed and demanded globally as well. So, and the other product that I would like to highlight is a smart smoke and air quality sensor.
Artur, if I may jump in here, so
yeah, sure.
I want to underline, the challenge for this router development. So a few years ago, we find a difficulty to find routers for our 5G network. So we could establish a network, but there were no gadgets to be able to deliver this 5G speed. So we addressed Microtik. Can we do something in that particular case? And so other aspect for that was willingness to move from Huawei and other producers to get something done in EU. So our close connections to Microtik helped us a lot. And so in our friendship, we designed this 5G router, and as Arturs mentioned, the quite huge number of all our brand broadband connections is already made with this this router. Also, other operators, both here in Latvia and EU, are already using this beautiful MikroTik router. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Eggers. Yeah. Okay, now about the other product, this smart smoke and air quality sensor. So that works in LTE-M and narrowband IoT networks. And the same situation as Eggers already described at the time when we were looking for sensors to expand our presence in the IoT market. There was no ready solution that would fully fit our needs. And therefore, we developed it by ourselves together with MikroTik. And besides hardware, we developed IoT platform as well as a user app for iOS and Android. And main principle of the sensor you can see in this animation. So when there is a smoke alarm in the household, the signal is processed through the mobile network, and the customer or household owner receives SMS or application notification about the event. And if he is not able to react after some time, notification is sent to another related person, for example, neighbor or friend or relative. And using mobile network for this purpose, we eliminate risk of not receiving notifications that might happen in case of Wi-Fi and electricity cutoff combination. And besides file alarm, customer can monitor other parameters in the household, such as temperature, humidity, level of CO, and air quality index. That is very important in a post-COVID times. And right now, we're in discussion phase with our firefighting service to provide fire notifications directly to their command center to provide better reaction times by saving some households from burning or even save some lives. So, and for the mobile operator, this solution is a great additional revenue stream that allows to commercialize IoT networks with much more higher added value rather than just selling machine-to-machine SIM cards. And hardware as a service business model that we have chosen, it has proven itself to be efficient because it provides long-term relationship with your customer, and it opens opportunities to upsell this direction of business with other sensors such as leakage detection, presence sensor, and other. So to sum up, so we need to look how we can create added value to monetize and commercialize our network, and this is the way how we can do it. And now I would like to give a word to my colleague Kaspars, who will tell you more about what we are doing in defense and public safety vertical.
Perhaps before doing so, I see that there are some questions coming in. Could we address the questions first? I think the first one is on whether you already have 5G standalone or is it still non-standalone? And the second question is related to which 5G chipset you're using in the MikroTik router.
Regarding standalone or non-standalone, so we are still in this non-standalone 5G network, but for testbed purposes, we are using standalone network to test it more proprietary, right? We plan to move to standalone next year. So it will be, you know, as I mentioned in the beginning, it will be our fourth time here in Latvia when we're gonna launch 5G, right? This is now a roadmap. Regarding chipsets, as far as I'm aware, it's a Qualcomm chipset, but I can ask our technicians or product owner after this meeting, and we'll be able to answer more precisely on that question. Okay. And in the previous slide, which Arturs presented, we call this solution ILPO. In Latvian, it means breathe. So we are still in discussion about whether will we keep this brand name for export activities or not. And probably if we're gonna have some further conversations with some participants of this webinar, it will be interesting to hear your opinion about this brand name, how it's related to other countries, and how you find word ILPO attractive or not. But as Artur's mentioned, our next topic is about defense and public safety, and about our experience with the 5G military test bed, and whether is there any common in playing World of Tanks and real-life command control. Will elaborate Mr. Kaspars Polaks, Reserve Lieutenant Commander of Latvian Army and Head of Business Area Defense and Public Safety. Kaspar, so floor is yours.
Good morning. Thank you, Igors, for such a titleful introduction of myself. So from my side, there will be two stories about our activity. So as Igors mentioned, a separate branch within the company works with the defense and public safety business development. And so the first story, of course, is 5G related. If we're talking about the 5G in defense sector and in military in general, that's completely different story from other, let's say, telco technologies. So none of the previous technologies, neither 3G or 4G, got so much attention from the military as the 5G. And the reason mainly is because of all those nice sub-technologies 5G brings with itself and possible applications for the defense. And that is actually the main question to answer at this point, is how actually 5G can be used for the military purposes. What are the advantages and what are the threats? And therefore, 2 years ago, LMT, in collaboration with the Ministry of Defense of Latvia and National Armed Forces, established first in Europe 5G military test site in military camp Kadaga. And the beauty of this area is that we have all necessary ecosystem in place from different points of view. First of all, military training area we are talking about is largest in the Baltic states, so that gives us an opportunity to do different testings of different applications of the 5G, including even aviation assets and naval assets. Therefore, we can do that multispectrally. With regards to the logistics, so as Igors already mentioned, the military camp is less than an hour drive away from the Riga International Airport, so that makes easy to bring in partners and participants into the test site. And last but not the least, that is an international environment. So in military camp Kadaga, which is our largest military base in Latvia, we have NATO battle group deployed with more than 10 nations at the moment, contributing to the NATO's efforts on the eastern flank of the alliance. Therefore, the necessary environment, the necessary, let's say, involvement and interest is in place here. And if we go to the next slide, so that is the Igors, can we switch to next? Yes, so our latest event, which took place on November this year, was the first operational exercise conducted by NATO Allied Command Transformation. So what we did during 2 weeks long NATO exercise in our testbed, we tested VR and AR applications for military training and critical high-value asset maintenance in different 5G network configurations. So that was the first time NATO agency conducted such an activity, and so shortly speaking, a huge event. From the side of infrastructure, which I guess for the technical people is more interesting, at the moment we are using our commercial network in the camp Adaži, and that's the reason of it is actually what we see in Ukraine. In modern warfare, both sides nowadays tend to use at some point commercial network. Therefore, if we are analyzing the use of the 5G for the defense, we should play with the commercial network as well. And besides that, we have two separate standalone 5G networks, different vendor 5G networks in the base as well. So basically, we are talking about three separate networks there. Next slide, please. Yes, and during our activities, we have understood that 5G, one of the perspective directions for the 5G besides VR and AR and autonomous systems is more conventional, which is command control. And as Igors mentioned, some 6 years ago, when our let's say not the sprint but marathon in defense business started, and we are still running, we were approached by Latvian National Guard, who asked us for a couple of used phones for their exercises, and that's how we started the discussion. And today we can say that together with the Latvian National Guard, Armed Forces, Ministry of Defense, and LMT, we have developed the product, LMT's Battlefield Information Management System, which nationally we call Vietsargs. That's the battalion level tactical situation awareness system for the basic tactical level C2, and which is more important, talking in regards with the 5G development, the system is 5G compatible, which is not always the story for other legacy systems from other manufacturers, which is used at the moment in the alliance. And talking about our I would say highest achievement with our BIMS software is that the system is built so that it is interconnectable and interoperable with other NATO systems. We are participating annually in NATO Combined Warrior Interoperability exercise, where we develop together with our NATO partners solutions how to interconnect the systems, how to exchange data, how to integrate sensors, unmanned systems, etc. So from my side, shortly, that would be it. Our main two stories from defense side, 5G for defense and LMT BIMS.
Yeah, thank you, Kaspar. If there are any questions, please address them, and Kaspar will elaborate on that. What I want to add here is this metaphor about World of Tanks, because it's easy to play video games when you are in command and you see where your tanks or weapons or mans located. It's easy to see and control it, but in real life, it's absolutely different. You as a commander, you are not aware or you do not have exact locations about your forces, and so that BIMS or like systems can help you to gather information. And as I see, our colleague Antons has addressed the question about this chipset used in MikroTik routers, so you can find the answer in a chat already. And so Kaspar, we have one question for you. I'll read it loud. Hello, Kaspar. So you mentioned you are supporting the aviation assets within the 5G. Do you use network slicing? If yes, in which bands? How do you interface between aviations and MNO systems? How do you digitize the airspace? For example, how do you show connectivity details within a certain altitude? Thank you.
Yes, thank you. That's actually a great question, and I would say the bunch of questions. So I would start one by one. For with regards to the slicing, we are just starting it, and it's let's say one of our plans. What we do with regards to the slicing and the digitalization of the combat airspace is we have started cooperation with the US Department of Defense, and these guys have done a bit more in this direction. But talking about the interface part, so actually that's exactly the role of the Battlefield Information Management System. So our product, a lot of nations are using different products, ATAC, Citiver, etc. So that's basically the role of the Battlefield Information Management System to serve as the as the interface and integration tool for the assets and integration, including the commercial network, for example. And with regards to the altitude, yes, and with regards to the altitude, we have done several testings of the 5G coverage and how you can actually do the prediction of the coverage both in the maritime environment and in the airspace. So I will not dig deeper in the technical details, but we have done it, yes. And military ground ADAGI is very useful for that, because that's as far as I know, the only certified military exercise area where the tactical air control and tactical air support can be actually practiced. So that's exactly what we are doing and what we have envisioned to do. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Kaspars. So let's move forward, and our next topic is about where we started, from phones to drones, and to share about drone projects, I will give floor to back to Artur. So Artur, please.
Thank you. So probably you will find also answer about how do we digitalize airspace. So I will touch this topic a little bit. But as you already heard the sentence in the beginning, so from phones to drones, it's not just an abstract, because we are really working into this industry, and we see there really huge potential. Because from first impression, there might be hard to find any correlation between mobile operator and drones. However, there is one or probably several. And as we may notice, the drone industry develops very rapidly, and many different drone application use cases become as a daily activity of any business, starting from inspections, monitoring, measuring, till parcel delivery projects. And right now, what we have faced in the European Union, there is some limitations regarding regulation of BV loss flights. BV loss, I believe you know it, it's beyond visual line of sight. But when it takes place, it would be open. It would open drone application use cases even for wider availability. And the use space regulation is already in active development phase, and as soon as it will be approved, we need to be ready and be in the market already. And this is the great business opportunity for mobile operators, because mobile network will be a critical part in the drone air traffic management solutions. And beside that, we can look a bit wider at this topic, and we can find some business opportunities there to provide additional services as well, such as hardware sales, drone themselves, training, software, and others. And as you can see, we already have launched drone training school that is approved by local airspace controlling institutions, so we can issue real licenses for drone pilots. And by that, we are starting to gather drone users in our portfolio to offer them further services of mobile network when the market will be ready for that. And beside that, we also invest in research of our mobile network capabilities for BV loss flights. And this is partially related to the question about airspace digitalization. So we have some research projects on mobile network availability in the sky together with a Swiss partner. We are creating our mobile network prediction map that would allow to create corridors for the drones when you plan some BV loss flights. And this is the real thing when we make real measurements. And we also performed several proof of concept projects already where we used mobile network to control the drone. And one of these projects was a BV loss flight from Latvia to Estonia, even with the tower switching. And the other one, the recent project with the Comfort Drones program was BV loss flight in Latvia that was fully controlled from Spain using mobile network only. So the future is already here. So we need to be ready for that. as I mentioned, the drone applications, they do not limit themselves only with mobile network or hardware sales. So you can find new and new applications for the drone usage. And here we can see that short video of our proof of concept. We created it together with local partners to measure radio frequencies of antennas in the tower. And this solution combines computer vision and drone technology that brings significant added value comparing to traditional measuring methods using physical climber workforce. And in this solution, drone is capable to detect antennas, position itself automatically in front of them, and perform required measurements. And afterwards, this data can be gathered and analyzed. And computer vision is another topic we are actively working on. And my colleague Carlos will continue with other use cases. Where do we use this technology?
Yes, thank you, Arthur. So guys, if you have any questions regarding drones, please, it's the right time to address them. And this proof of concept, as Arthur mentioned, is still in development. So together with Electronic Communication Office of Latvia, we are closely working further on that. And this solution, in our perspective, will help a lot for mobile operators, who have to inspect mobile towers and have to climb up those towers. So you can easily use drone and automate those flights and measurements. Yes, but regarding mobility, our last but not least.
Aigars, we have a question related to the drones.
Okay,
so
I didn't saw it. Yeah, sorry.
You can address
sure.
it immediately.
What kind of 5G mobile modules terminals are you using for drones? For drones, are you using public 5G network or are you using 5G private network? Artur, can you
try to answer? Yeah, but so far as I know, so these flights that I mentioned were performed in 4G network, and it was sufficient to get the quality results. So the latency was not that high, and because in Latvia we have a good quality network and availability. But we are looking in direction of 5G, but not ready solutions or proof of concept in 5G technology.
Yeah, and as I mentioned before, regarding those test beds, what kind and where do we have? We have one test bed dedicated to drone flights, not far from our capital. So there we pilot several drone flights in particular this 5G network. Okay, so our last but not least topic, as I mentioned, is about mobility, and I will pass the mic to Mr. Carlos Vilciņš, our owner of system integration business. Carlos knows the best which is the most stressful day of the week, right, Carly? And why so? So Carlos will explain us more about it. So,
yes,
the floor is yours.
We will come to that. Thank you
Sure.
for introduction. Yes, my name is Carlos Vilciņš. I'll tell a bit about mobility. Actually, this first slide, Aigars already mentioned this test track and this nice test environment what we have. But I think it's good to remind that this is really a special project that we have built here in Riga. It's like 5 minutes from Riga city center. There is a racetrack, a real racetrack where people do racing. And inside of this racetrack, one part we have developed as actually 5G test site. And why it's specific? Because together with Telia Estonia, we made 2 different 5G networks available there. And actually what this gives you super availability to test all of those inter-network switchings and all of those functionalities what you need to use in a V2X functionality. So either car is talking to car or car is talking to road infrastructure. And at one moment you have to switch the network, and there are quite complex, interesting things. And these are the use cases we are testing in this research and development project. And here actually we are welcoming all of you. If you are interested in this kind of tests, just come over, use it yourself, and definitely we will find a way to do it smart So this is kind of the introduction to mobility part, the nice R&D project. If we go to the next slide, yes, you see a nice sunny morning. Don't know which weekday it is, but it's city of Liepāja, one of the cities in Latvia. What's interesting about municipalities, actually most of municipalities in Latvia are our customers. And we are talking to them a lot. We are listening to them, and they often tell what kind of problems they do have. And this is actually a great example how one computer vision use case came from a real problem that the real city has. This is a crossing, kind of a simple crossing, one bigger street, one smaller street. But there were a lot of accidents here, injuries, even fatal injuries. Cars ended up in the houses you see over there. So basically, it's a lot of crash scene photographies from there. City tried to do a lot of things here. They first tried to do some road markings, some speed limitations, then they installed the traffic lights. Basically, nothing helped. Nothing helped, and they could not build the speed bump due to legislation because it's kind of the big road, the magistral road. And then they talked to us, hey guys, can we do something from technology point of view? And we thought, let's try. And it was like 3 years ago. And actually what we did, we used this video what you see here, and actually we analyzed it. And we said, we can do it with video only. We can use computer vision. We can use AI. With AI, we mean neural networks. We can use edge computing, and we can ask the drivers start to think, because they will know that their bad things will be fixed, and some time they will get a penalty for this kind of red light running. That was the real problem there. If we go to the next slide, actually that's the real product what we developed. Actually, it's a whole platform. We call it LMT Transport Monitoring Platform. And what's interesting about this platform, it is using a lot of computer vision, and it does it on edge. It means that we don't send the video stream anywhere away from the crossing. We work with it on the edge computing device on the crossing. There's a box next to the traffic light, edge computer, a lot of different components are installed there. And this actually allows us to be totally in line with GDPR at the same time, and also reach really good and fast results at every set immediately. If we look kind of from computer vision point of view, it's not rocket science. We still see what kind of objects are going there. We classify them. We visually see their trajectories. A bit more specific use case is understanding if it's a green or red light. We actually used around 1 million pictures to train the algorithm to understand precisely what light it is, because you know, when it's snow and when it's rain and when it's direct sunlight, the environment is changing. It's not laboratory. So we trained for it, and then on top of that, we can basically put those logical algorithms to detect the different kinds of violations. Red light running is simply the first one that was required for that site. Now we are testing for other use cases. We of course do ANPR. We understand what is the number plate. We recognize it, and we also have some integrations, some local integrations. What's interesting, Riga city, capital of Latvia, it's roughly 1 million people agglomeration, if you see beyond the borders. Police, if I remember correctly, in 2021, they said in the whole year, they sent penalties to 3,000 people running red lights. When we installed first device on one crossing, in 1 year, we captured 9,000 events. This is, let's say, not to talk about money, not to talk about penalties, but talk about road safety, talk about fatality of such accidents, and just think how big is the measure of this problem. And you don't see it unless you measure it, unless you start to grab those events from the traffic lights. You see buses, you see public transportation going red lights. So we as a telco think we can do a good thing there. One question for you to think about, as Igors actually already mentioned, how do you think which weekday is the one when people do those offenses most? Just write in the chat your answer, and we will come to that in end of next slide. So we have some interactivity here. Just write your best guess. And while you're writing your answer, I'm just going through this value proposition, why this solution is super perfect for a city and for telco as us as well. First, it's scalable. As I told, we are using edge computing to analyze the scenery. And this means that you are able to install it as many places as you want, because basically the server side doesn't change. You do the analytics on the edge. And this is super nice because you can quite fast spread it out, build 100 devices, send the data, just the final data to the server. It's also plug and play because we do it in one day, and basically in one day we can install it anywhere. We can move it to another location. And here the telco kind of business model comes in. We are really used to those investments that we can move like mobile phone from one point to another point. And we don't do a lot of building works, as you see the next point. We don't need a separate pole for this approach. So this kind of new business model starts to happen. We actually in Riga we do it as a service. We can do it as a service for a fixed price, monthly price, like you give a new phone, smartphone to your customer. You can also provide this kind of solution to municipality. And to end up this, it's actually really important that you don't need to integrate. There we actually had some funny stories with those traffic light controllers. You know, on every crossing there is a traffic light controller, and there are hundreds of producers of them. And as you want to push your wire inside of it, some warranty conditions are spoiled at the same moment. And those stories are the same with every equipment you have to integrate. So we said we do it simply from computer vision. We see the traffic light, we see the vehicle, and we just do our job there and put it on top of existing infrastructure. Yeah, and web access, self-understandably there is, and we do API integration or how you want. Oh yeah,
Carly, yeah, let's see some answers we got for your question about.
I see them. I see
yeah,
them.
So there are a few guesses about Friday, a few bet on Monday, especially Monday morning.
Yeah,
and
I don't see the right answer yet.
Yeah, Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. You know, like very stressful family time. I totally agree, but what's interesting, we didn't saw right answer here. So, Carlos, what's the right answer to your question?
It's funny, but the right answer is Wednesday, middle of the week. And another fact, people tend to run the red light more, not in the evening. They don't hurry, not in the morning. They don't hurry so much to the work. They are more in a hurry to their homes. So this is also an interesting fact. Okay, and to finish my presentation, let's go to the last slide from me. This is a bit of going deeper. As you saw, we have made a product using computer vision and AI and neural networks. And here is some specific use cases that we are also developing, having our in-house computer vision teams. And we are able to do some super specific developments as well, where we are always open for some different partnerships. There are several projects with different institutions we work with to understand what make of car is there, or to use re-identification, for example, algorithm that's super new, like in last years, when from a picture somewhere in the website, like here you see this Audi picture from some advertisement portal, you can find a picture in many video streams representing quite similar object. Is it a car or is it some other object? So if you don't know the make of the car, for example, but it has red alloys and some stupid blue line across it, you can quite easily find it from its image. Yeah, we also do some interesting route understanding of people, but of course this is all in line with GDPR, and we do it only if institutions allow us to do it, and then we are ready to train different kind of algorithms and work on computer vision a lot to make different nice and good use cases. Yeah, that's it from me. Thank you. There are some questions, I see.
Yes, there are some. So I see why you decided to do this AI ML internally rather than delegate it to hyperscalers partners.
Yeah. Hi, Lucas. Yeah, thanks for this question. This is a good one. And actually, at the real beginning, we tried to outsource something, and then basically we understood that when you need to solve complex solutions, it's sometimes good to build this power inside your organization. And simply organizations from outside either will be super expensive, super slow, or experience that sometimes with those super core knowledge, it's better to keep them inside. That was probably the reason to do it in-house or organization.
Yeah. What makes of cars crash lights most often?
We haven't done this analysis. I will answer you politely. All of us, of course, know that there are some makers of cars where people are a bit more aggressive, but it really depends on market, I believe, and there is no one right answer, I think.
Yeah, and the last one, do you think it's better for telcos to develop its own use cases as we do present today, or partner with other companies and provide them with tools to do so?
I think it's both, actually. Of course, we like the beautiful stories when we have all the competence inside of our organization, but we're all the time partnering and developing different use cases, also in computer vision with partners outside of our organization. So if you have something interesting in this area, let us know, and definitely we can talk about it as well.
Yeah, and I will elaborate here a bit from my side, my perspective. We as a mobile operator, we are kind of afraid to become like pipe to delivering only connectivity. We find ourselves in some added value business to add more for some projects, and that's why we are looking for this particular use cases. And the other perspective on that question is about, as I mentioned in the beginning of my presentation, is about delivering 5G use cases. We hear a lot about them. We see a lot about them in presentations, slidewares, but there are only few or really rare proof of those 5G use cases. That's why, as I mentioned, we took this driver's seat for 5G use cases and made some for our own purposes. And yeah, guys, to conclude all the topics we covered today, this is a short summary. So it would be our pleasure to keep discussion with you on topics we just started. Especially we are looking for the distributors and export options for our sensor and red light solution. And we are open to new partnerships and EU projects providing our expertise and test beds for that. And yeah, so here you can find my contact information. Please don't hesitate to contact via LinkedIn or email. And yeah, thanks for your time. I see we still have some question, right? I suppose you use some kind of cloud platform behind. Did you build it yourself, or do you use out of the box cloud platforms? Yeah, we didn't build our platform, so we're using, for example, Cumulocity platform for our sensor business management. Carlos,
Yeah,
something.
Yeah, probably this is also a question a bit about our transport monitoring platform.
Okay, yeah, elaborate on that, yeah, please.
Because it's edge service management, and definitely, of course, we are using algorithms already there on the market, but we are combining them, and we actually built our own platform for edge device management, for example, to see they're healthy and etc. to control the updates centrally. So it's always mix and match. You don't invest too much in the base technologies, but you always try to build this added value, and that's why we telcos are normally really good. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Carlos. So in Riga it is noon. So as we say in Latvian, labu apetiti or bon appetit. And I think some final words and closings from Wim side, please.
Yes. First of all, thanks Egars and the whole team for a very engaging and interesting presentation. I think we already got some nice words in the chat also, and some congratulations on the presentation. Really impressive use cases, and a good way to be inspired from, to avoid becoming a dumb bit pipe, which is still, I would say, the worst nightmare of most telcos. And we will pursue this this also in our future set of sessions next year. This was the last session of the future of telcos for this year, but we will have some next year as well. And perhaps I can just share again my screen and conclude. By mentioning that we will have our community gathering next year in Berlin on 6th and 7th of June. The team will be powering sustainable growth in telecoms, and we will focus on ecosystem innovation, what LMT is already doing, as we have seen from the use cases. We will also, as we're already doing, continue to focus on energy reduction. How can telcos reduce their own consumption, but also help other industries to reduce their energy? And we also want to approach or start to discuss the metaverse again, a way to avoid becoming a bit pipe, what is in store with the metaverse for telcos. So we will have some engaging speakers also in this respect. So this is June, but this does not mean that we will not have any activities before June. We still have webinars this year of some of our working groups. And we also have a pipeline of working group webinars and meetings coming up already beginning of 2023. So feel free to look at the presentation, look at our website. All the planned meetings are already mentioned on the website. If you're not an ETIS member, feel free to contact me if you are inspired by this type of webinars. I can explain what we're doing and how we can help also you to improve your business and make the right strategic choices. So again, a very big thank you to Egars and the whole team of LMT. Feel free to contact Egars also. His email is mentioned in the slides. And as mentioned, you will get a copy of the slides and also the link to review or to share the presentation you have seen today with your colleagues. Have a great day. If we don't meet before Christmas already, nice holidays ahead, I hope, for all of you, and see you soon. Take care and enjoy already lunch in Latvia.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay,
Thank you. See you.
bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.